Hi guys, and welcome to today's Money Honey's video. I have to apologize for how gothy I'm looking. I didn't realize that this lip color was going to look this way on camera, but that's not what you're here to hear about. We are here to talk about money-related topics. This is the first video that I am doing that is not strictly part of the Money Honey series. The Money Honey series that I made is really there to get your financial foundation in place, to really get you on track to be in control of your money, to be doing the things you need to do to get a handle on your finances. If you have not watched that but would like to, I will put a link down below to the playlist for those videos, as well as a link at the very end of this video. But today I want to do something different. I want to talk a little bit about a topic that is not directly related to money, but is related to money. These are sort of topics that interest me. I feel like I want to call these like the MoneyHoney Buzz or something like that. It's really a chance to talk about more philosophies and ideas about money and finances and life. The topic I want to discuss today is sort of related to minimalism, but a little bit more minimalism and your wants around your living space, the size of your space, and your possessions. I really got started thinking about this topic today when I read a quote by Socrates that says, "The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less." That's a very broad statement. It can relate to a lot of things in life, and I think sometimes the idea of desiring less is seen as a negative because it's seen as being unambitious, of not having dreams for yourself, and that's definitely not what I'm talking about today. Today I want to talk about and explore the ideas that we have, and I think especially in North America and sort of the Western world, North America specifically, about our homes and our spaces and how those look and how they act for us. So I'm going to start by telling you my story of sort of my living places and where I've ended up. Growing up, I grew up in a detached house in a suburb. We each had our own bedrooms. There was lots of space for everything, and family rooms and living room and all that sort of thing, which is kind of what you think of when you think about a family home. After going through school and, living in dorms and all that kind of stuff, I got my first, big kid job, big girl job, and saved up enough to move out on my own. My very first apartment was a little bachelor apartment in Toronto. It was what I could afford. It was in a place that I wanted to live, but it was tiny and I had no furniture of my own. I remember I bought my first furniture ever, which was an IKEA sofa bed/bed, which is going to be my sofa and my bed, and a table and a set of 4 chairs. I had a tiny little kitchen, and I had a bathroom you could only get to by walking through the closet. It was tiny, but I really liked it. It had this feeling of just being mine, and it was really bright, and it was good. Later on, after I met my to-be husband, when he and I got engaged and moved in together, we moved into a 1-bedroom apartment together. And it was kind of crazy coming together with 2 people and 2 groups of people's things. And it wasn't that either of us really had a lot of stuff, but you take all that stuff and cram it into one place, and it started the period of my life where everything sort of felt like there was too much in the size of space that we had. We never really even got that place. I think we lived there for about 1.5 years. Never even really got it to being uncluttered, just because there was nowhere for all the stuff to go. There just wasn't. We had too much space, too much stuff for the space that we had. Moving forward, he and I bought our first home together. It was a 3-bedroom townhouse, and we moved in there and we had whole rooms that were just empty. We were used to living in a 1-bedroom apartment, and we definitely had more stuff than we needed for a 1-bedroom apartment. But when we moved into a 3-bedroom place, it was just like, look at all this space. And then you have all this space and you fill up that space and you end up having offices and a guest bedroom and things for the basement, and acquiring tables and extra bookshelves to hold everything. And it all sort of comes together. So after living there for 5 years, I think it was, he and I ended up getting divorced. So in the time living there, it was both of our stuff together, and it never again felt like it was 100% organized, because when the stuff isn't yours, you don't really get a chance to organize it necessarily. So he moved out and his stuff went out with him, and I was again left with rooms with not very much in it, but I knew I wasn't going to stay there. Suddenly, all the space that I had was like an extra weight on my mind. It was like I had to think about all the spaces in the home, and being a homeowner and taking care of all of that myself, it was a lot of responsibility, and it wasn't enjoyable responsibility to me. I was spending all of my weekends taking care of the garden and the lawn and figuring things out around the house. I had to replace air conditioners and balconies, and my water heater flooded the basement and had to tear out all the carpeting. All of my life was being dedicated to taking care of this house, and I knew I was going to sell it, but getting it ready to sell. And there were places of that home I didn't even want to go into because it just stressed me out so much. So after selling that place, I moved into a little one-bedroom condo. It was actually not this place because I had to move from that place into here, but pretty much like this. This place is maybe a little bit, tiny bit bigger, but really a little one-bedroom place. And I remember leaving the place that was the townhome, and it was crazy. You spend all this money buying all of these things to fill this space, and quite honestly, if we didn't have 3 bedrooms, we wouldn't have filled 3 bedrooms because we felt we needed, guest room stuff and office stuff and things for the basement and all of that, things for the yard. And you build up all this stuff and you're spending money on it, and then it comes time to leave and you realize how that stuff is not financially worth anything anymore, and it's just a weight on your brain. So I end up having a garage sale. You make a few $100s, if that. I think it was like $200 something I made on a garage sale. And in the end, I had to pay for a junk removal company to come and take away the stuff I wasn't going to have anymore. So I ended up paying $600 for people to come and take away stuff and throw out stuff that I had spent my good hard-earned money on. But moving into my little one-bedroom place was so freeing. I ended up buying this bed and the mattress with it, moving into this space because the one that I had was really worn out and I just wanted a fresh new start. So when the movers came to move me out of my townhome and bring stuff to the one-bedroom place, they were amazed at how little I had. I had a sofa, a dresser, actually I think 2 dressers. I got rid of 1 dresser when I moved here from the other little one-bedroom. So a table, 2 dressers, a sofa, 4 chairs, and some boxes. That was everything that I had. And it was so nice to feel the lightness of knowing everything that was coming with me. All this to say that even though I went from a place that was larger to a place that was smaller, and a lot of people would consider that downsizing or a step down, I feel so much calmer in a place where I know where everything is, and it's almost like the worries in your mind expand to think about all the spaces that you need to take care of. And here, it doesn't worry me. I look around and I can immediately see my entire place. I know where everything is. I can clean it like that and then go and get on with my life. The idea of this brings to mind another saying, and that is by Anton de Saint-Exupéry, if I'm saying that right, which is, you have reached perfection of design, not when you have nothing more to add, but when you have nothing more to take away. And I think this speaks to me a little bit about how we have to switch the way that we think. I am someone who, for a long time watched like HGTV and like House Hunters and decorating and everything. And we have this mindset of bigger is better. I remember somebody saying once that when you're searching for a home or a place you're going to live, the question you should not be asking yourself is how much space I can afford, but how little space can I live in? It's a very much a switch from what we're raised to believe, because our culture tells us that, you should have all these rooms. You should have, a guest room and a living room, and an outdoor room is a new thing, an outdoor kitchen and a man cave, and, all these spaces, and buy all these designer magazines and look at all the ways you can design your space and the beautiful things you can buy to fill it up. And oh, don't you know there's seasonal decor? So you should switch out all of your spring and summer things and bring in your fall and winter things. And it's the consumerism mindset of, I'm going to buy a house with a lot of space because having more space is like a status symbol, and then I need to buy stuff to fill all of that space, and then at some point it's like you end up with too much stuff and then you have to buy a bigger place to house your things. I am one person. And I find it very freeing to think about how little space do I actually need to live in. This room that you only see a little bit of here, all that is in here is a bed, 2 lamps, and right now the camera, and a closet with my things in it. I don't even have side tables in here. I might get a side table at some point, but it's very basic and minimal. My living room slash dining room, table, 4 chairs, a dresser, and a sofa, and an area rug. I do have a desk. That is all of my furniture. And you know, there is something to say about you don't want to live in a space so small that you feel cramped and uncomfortable. But you know, my bedroom is not big, but how much space do you need in a bedroom? You know, I entertain every once in a while, but I'm not going to spend hundreds of dollars more in rent each month for a place that can hold a lot of people when I entertain once every few weeks. So I'm getting off on a bit of a ramble here, but I think it's important to think about wanting less as not being a bad thing, but as being a way to switch in your mind about what is important to you and what is the least amount that you can have and live with to be happy. Where I'm going with this talk is a little bit rambly, and it's bringing some ideas together, and I would love to talk a little bit more about minimalism and things like that in the future. But the idea is that sometimes when you are looking at saving money or being good with money or being on a budget, you can feel like you are denying yourself. You can feel like it is a sacrifice. And there is a way to switch that around and think that having less is not a sacrifice, but a decision. One of the things to think about is if you've ever stayed in a nice hotel, there's this calming feeling to it. And part of the reason for that is that it's uncluttered. There's not a lot of things there. It is clean and calm and minimalistic. And if you make the decision to make your life that way, you can carry that feeling with you more. I am not perfect by any means. There are things that I have too much of, makeup being one of them, and the other being cookbooks. I spent some time where I was getting a lot of cookbooks, and I find them hard to get rid of because they still bring me joy. One of the things that I am going to be doing over the next couple of weeks for myself is going through my things again, getting rid of things, giving things away to other folks. I recently read the book that I'm going to forget the name of, but the KonMari method decluttering book. I'm going to be doing some of that. Let me know if you'd be interested in me doing a little bit of a vlog of some of my decluttering. I would be happy to. I hope this was interesting for you today. I know it's a little bit of a departure from what we usually chat about on here, but I think some of these topics that help us think about personal finance in the framing of our lives and our philosophies and how we choose to live gives us a better mind space for being in control of our money and making decisions about what is important to us. Thank you so much for joining me for this today. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It lets me know that you are watching and enjoying this. Also, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this kind of topic and conversation. If you leave a comment below, I will respond to it. I respond to every comment that I get, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.